Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing? I can't hear that. Hello. How's everybody doing? All right. Welcome, everybody. This is going to be really special. We are so very excited. My name is Greg Chin. I'm the Director for Creative Enablement on the Music Partnerships team at Dolby. I'm an electronic musician, producer, and DJ myself, and it is a real honor to be here with the master himself, RZA. We also have, yes, give it up. We're also blessed and honored to be here at the LennonBus. We have Brian Rothschild, who's kind of one of the co-founders. We're going to talk a lot about that. We have Pietro Rossi, who's amazing engineer, who also worked with RZA on this project. And we're going to get right into it. First off, again, just want to thank Dolby Institute. Want to thank LennonBus, obviously, for having us. Thank our amazing panelists. And what say you guys? What say we jump right into it?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right.
It's great to be here.
It's great to have you here. Thank you for having us. So actually, Brian, we'll start with you. Tell us a little bit, just very quickly, about the mission of the bus for those who may not know. I think everybody knows at this point, but maybe for someone who's here who's never got to experience it.
Sure, of course. So this is a project that I started now 26 years ago with Yoko Ono Lennon. It's made possible by all of our partners, including Apple and Dolby and Genelec and Gibson and Audio-Technica, and so many others who believed in the mission of providing young people with free opportunities to create original music, videos, short films, documentaries. As technology has evolved, the LennonBus has evolved. There's another bus in Europe as well. The exciting news here at NAMM 2024 is that this is really part of the relaunch of the LennonBus after a long hiatus off-road during COVID, of course. And when we approached this new relaunch, we wanted to do something very special. It's always been, the best nonprofit mobile recording studio in the world. We wanted to keep that going. In order to do that, we put in a Dolby 7.1.4 Atmos mixing studio, which is what we've got here. If you haven't seen it yet, you have to jump on later and get the experience of it. So I guess I'll stop right there because I could go on and on since that's me. But the exciting thing is that this past fall, we went out on tour with the Wu-Tang Clan. We'd known RZA. He's been a supporter of the LennonBus over the years, has a new project, an orchestral project that he recorded with the Colorado Symphony Orchestra. And he brought those tracks on. And while we toured around, did our very first Atmos mixes of this beautiful new project, which I'm guessing is released next month now. Is that the plan?
Yeah, it'll be out in the next few months, yes.
Next few months.
Cannot wait for that. So actually working on this album now in Dolby Atmos in an immersive environment, actually here on the bus along with Pietro, with Jeff and some of the engineers here on the bus. What was that like for you? You were on tour and you decided that you guys worked it out where the bus kind of followed you guys on tour.
As Brian said, I've been a supporter of this bus for over 5 years now, maybe even longer. I love what it stands for, spreading music, spreading culture for young people. John Lennon was all about that. He imagined a world where everybody came together as one, and through music, we have that power to come together as one. I recorded an album with the Colorado Symphony Orchestra. We started a couple of years ago. We finished recording in the summer. I had a big tour coming, the New York State of Mind tour, Wu-Tang and NAS. I reached out to Brian and was like, yo, I would love for the bus to follow us on tour. Maybe I'll make some new Wu-Tang tracks, but if not, I got a great album that I need to mix, and I need a good engineer. Pedro on the bus. They got this Dolby 7.1. It sounds incredible on that bus. When you're traveling around, from America to Canada, and you in these mountains, and you get a vibe. This bus was right there for me to walk right on, play with the music, do an ill mix, and I can't wait to share it for the listeners. But it's been a pleasure.
Love it. So tell us a little bit, for those who may not know, A Ballet Through Mud. How did this start? What was the catalyst? What was the how did you create this?
The ballet started from COVID, like everybody else, right? COVID. I'm sitting at home for all this time, and I found this old book of lyrics that I wrote when I was young, you know, going through your virginity, discovering knowledge, discovering life, discovering drinking, smoking, all these different energies. And as I'm reading these old lyrics, I decided to compose to it. The idea is that, you know, the mud is something that we all want to stay away from, but yet the lotus grows out of the mud. And so I took that concept and started composing music with that philosophy. And then I started naming some characters, and I took the musical modes, Ionian, Aeolian, Phrygian, Locrian, Lydian, Mixolydian, and Dorian, and named them characters. And so through this album, you can actually follow the story of 6 young people who are dealing with youthful exploration. And at the same time, you're traveling from your C scale, going through all your modes, and then resolving right back to that C. So it was something that was in me. I had to get it out. Bung, bung, I got it out.
Bong bong, yes. So thinking about that, when you you did the original recordings, you know, did the writing, obviously you had the ballet done and choreographed beautifully, which we're gonna come back to because we're gonna definitely talk about martial arts a little bit and how that plays into it because it clearly does, as it should. When you started thinking about the Dolby Atmos mix, now you had, you know, a full sense of being able to just really put things where you wanted. There's a lot of movement, obviously, that happens working with Pietro on the bus. You know, we'll talk to you in a second, Pietro. What were some of your thoughts in terms of approaching, you know, doing, kind of taking the piece or pieces and, you know, recrafting them in Dolby Atmos?
Well, you know, mostly, you know, we get most of our music first started at mono, then it went stereophonic. We now have the power with the tools of Dolby Atmos to put our music in a 360-degree parameter and actually move the instruments. So an orchestra is kind of lined out like this audience. It's usually in this 180, 240 degree. But we decided to mix this record in 360. So we break tradition, you know what I mean? But by breaking tradition, we actually allow the listener's ear and imagination to follow the sounds. So, you know, to have a cello behind you, or to have the Glocks over here, or to have the brass here, or to put the bass right in your face or underneath your feet, right? Dolby Atmos gave us that power. So as we was mixing it, me and Pietro, you know, we, you know, as artists, you know, one thing about being an artist, you'll find yourself being a kid again.
Totally.
We became kids, and we sat there and we just played with this thing up until late hours of the night, and we discovered what worked for the music, and we ended up doing the whole project like that.
Love it. I think Pietro has the coolest job in the world.
I'm blessed. I was truly blessed to be with the man, to be honest.
Pietro, tell us a little bit about, you know, how you guys kind of came up with the idea of integrating Dolby Atmos into the bus, and then kind of move into now you get to work with RZA and what that was like for you.
I mean, I've been mixing in stereo for many, many years, you know, 15, 20 years. And, you know, there's one thing about music, it's one of the most abstract art out there. And to put it in one box, call it mono, and then 2 boxes, and it's stereo. Now, all of a sudden, we got the ability actually to have the whole room, have the whole space available for us. So that was, as you know, as Bobby would say, it's an exploration for us as well. Now we can move within the room, and each piece can move within the same room with us. So there's no limitation anymore. And now we are finally to the point where this very abstract piece of art, it's not like paintings that you can see with colors and things like that. It's all over, it's all around us, and we can bring it up and down on time, and different sections and different, you know, different elements of the music can talk to each other freely.
That's amazing. So working with RZA, how did you find, you know, you guys clearly work really well together. You guys clearly have a lot of respect and love for each other. What was that like for you, being able to be on the bus, you know, touring alongside RZA and Wu-Tang, you know, working on these mixes, 4 shows, after shows?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, you know, it was hard. It was hard work. But, you know, the love for the music, and then when I heard the rough recordings the first time, I was like, man, I'm getting chills just listening to the raw recordings right there. So I was like, okay, this is a classical piece. It's the Colorado Symphony Orchestra we're talking about. I gotta pay some respect to this. So I started being very, very traditional with it. It's like, but then, the first revision we did is like, man, we got so much space. Let's play with those elements. Let's make it move. And then there were songs that were like, man, let's back it off that movement a little bit because, now let's make it, I will never forget. I want this to be a little bit more spinal. So that means, okay, I want to feel it here on the back. We normally associate music with something that's in front of us. And now we can finally, have it on the back and come from all over up to the spine and surround us again. So it was a very, very cool experience. Hard work. I mean, you were coming on board straight after the show. Your ears were ringing like hell. But we pulled it through, and within 10 days, we managed to pack that job. It's 11 songs, guys.
There was times when I would come off the stage and go to the bus, and during those times I was like, turn it down. You know what I mean? And there was times where we have a day off, and I'm like, we had the numbers like 60 to 85. We had a certain numbers on the board, like put it at that number now. I need to hit it at this number or that number. Now, I gotta make a confession here. He's not gonna talk about it, but he didn't know exactly what project I was gonna do on the bus. They thought I was gonna have 9 Wu-Tang MCs and NAS popping up every night, ready to go in here and rip this bus apart.
You're totally
No,
right.
they
I was
thought
like,
that.
I'm ready for anything.
Yeah, he was ready for that.
Down right now.
They had extra mics and shit. And I'm like, listen, nah, bro. I said, that might happen. That might happen. But what's guaranteed going to happen is I have this beautiful piece of music and I would love to mix it. And you mix classical albums anyway.
Yes, I love classical.
So it was just a beautiful thing. And for Brian, you actually suggested Pietro to me. It was just a beautiful thing that we took a risk with each other. We found the rhythm with each other, a communication, and we did it 10 days, would take most people 30 days.
Oh, that's what we were getting when we auditioned these tracks to some legends at the AES. They were like, wow, this sounds awesome, but how long did it take you? It's like 10 days while we were on tour. It's like, that's impossible. We did it. It's a huge passion, for music, huge respect for the compositions and all of the musicians that were playing these pieces. And then, you gave me like freedoms, like, do your thing. At the end of the day, hopefully I'm gonna have some time to check it out. But yeah, I was blessed to have that freedom from you, man, as well.
Incredible guidance. So RZA, I want to come back to the ballet. To me, there's like an amazing kind of trifecta here. So as a musician, obviously I'm a huge fan. As a martial artist, also a huge fan. I'm a Nihon. I've studied traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu, Aikido, studied Kung Fu when I was younger. So, you've been a big part, Wu-Tang's been a big part of my life for a long time. For this ballet, one of the things I noticed, I was able to view some of the scenes on YouTube, and it struck me, musically, a lot of what was happening also with the movement in the ballet, there's clearly, I'm not a ballerina, there's clearly a lot of that happening, traditional ballet and non-traditional ballet, but there's also martial arts movements. I saw Erimi Tenkan, there was some close movement Kung Fu I noticed in a lot of it. And then, of course, I got chills. I brought my 8-year-old daughter in and made her watch it. She loved it. She's also a ballerina, and she's studying martial arts as well. The trifecta, when I say the trifecta now, with being able to come back to the music and the way I like to think about it is re-performing it in Dolby Atmos. The movement is so important. How did you approach movement in terms of whether it's the instruments are attached to the dancers as well, to the ballerinas? How did you think about that? Did that come into play when you were thinking about Dolby Atmos and how you can kind of reimagine things?
It surely came into play. Music is a conversation between instruments, and with Dolby Atmos, you can actually stage the conversation. Meaning, like, we have a piece of music where the flutes may start right here and they're talking over here, but they're not static. They may then say, well, you know what? You don't hear me on this side. Let me go over here and talk and communicate. And so the being able to surround the listener with this music, when you if you guys get a chance to hear it, you will hear that it's surrounding you. You'll feel part of it. The gag of it for me was that, can I have a listener be able to feel that his life is being scored as he's listening to my music? Will he be able to feel the inspiration of Tai Chi? Because the music has a lot of rises and falls. Would he be able to feel the energy of karate? Because there's some pounding and straightforwardness that goes on. Would he be able to feel the inspiration of ballet? Yes, there's some very whimsical parts that are happening out of nowhere in this music. So the goal was to, to take all those elements, put them together musically, but then with Pietro, Jeff, the bus, and the Dolby Atmos, be able to now unpack it so that when a listener listens, they are actually, you should be able to thank Kung Fu, thank wisdom, thank culture. You should even hear the hip hop. I played a track to one of my buddies from Interpol, Paul Banks, and he said, man, it sounds beautiful, I love it, but I still hear you. I still hear, maybe that was the Shimmy Shimmy Ya riff, or maybe that was something in there you still can hear that is coming from the person who wrote those tracks. So I just can't wait to share it with everybody and let them enjoy it as much as we've been able to enjoy it for these last few months.
Cannot wait. Really appreciate that. So Brian, where were you during when this was all happening? Where were you hanging out? Were you you got to kind of experience some of this?
No, I just get daily updates about what was going on. And yeah, going back to what was just said, yeah, I was just worried that they were going to be ripping the thing apart every night. So I was waiting to get my instructions for the insurance report. But no, that didn't seem to happen. So no, I started to hear what the project was, and it's obviously very, very special. And I was super glad for Jeff and for Pietro to get the opportunity. And obviously for us to have something so unique and special with such a legend behind the wheel on it in our first mixes in this new Dolby Atmos environment, like it was a dream come true with a lot of dreams that we've had over the years, a lot of support from lots of folks. So this was, something that we in particular had dreamed about. Were we going to make it back out on the road? Were we not? What was going to happen? And so to have it result like this with such a big hit, something that everybody's excited to hear, it's just been very gratifying.
Love that. Thank you. So, we're here at NAMM. Obviously, there's a ton of noise happening, music happening all over the place, which is amazing, right? It's awesome. So thinking about, our amazing audience and the people that are here to listen and hear, we've got a lot of producers, engineers, musicians, people who are just doing it. For both you, RZA, and Pietro, like what's some advice you want to give to your fans and the audience here who are really dying to hear about, some things that they can take away from this?
Well, let me first I'll pass it to you, but let me first add on about the bus. So the one good thing about the bus that I think it should also be good for producers and engineers, et cetera, is that in the front of the bus there's the Dolby Atmos ability. But in the back, it's traditional stereo. So there was times we went in the back, we plugged the mic on, and we recorded some hip hop tracks as well. So I think when you have a system now with technology, 1 or 2 laptops, you got the power. I mean, you got so much power in your hands. So I would advise people to have, if you can't afford to have a Dolby setup, with some speakers or with the proper headphones, and have your traditional stereo setup. I think if you bounce back and forth between these two worlds as you create, it's going to inform you differently. It's going to increase your stereo ideas, and it's going to increase your Atmos ideas. So I want to say that from the bus, I learned that because some days we was like, yo, let's go to the back.
Yeah.
Turn it up, turn on Logic, right?
Yeah.
And give me a mic, and DJ Scratch brought a couple of beats in, and we was like, let's just go have fun.
Nice.
So the fun of all of it is so important.
I mean, again, going back to the bus theme, it's incredible. I've been on board of this bus and the European one for the last 11, 12 years. It's been a blessing. All of, what we have going on with the front studio and then this unique project I got blessed to work with, it reminded me again that how important it is to really pay due to the music. And in the end, of course, technology is there, but we are humans making music. And and if it's a great excuse to to come together, discuss about it. That's the reason why music is the most universal language. I'm Italian. I was born in Italy. I've been living in Amsterdam for the last 15 years. I've been touring across the US and Canada with these folks. What is the common theme? Music. Music. That's it.
Incredible.
I'd like to add one thing,
Please.
too, as a piece of advice that I wish somebody would have gave to me. So in the beginning of Wu-Tang, our first album was 36 Chambers. Now, that album was made with no money. We didn't know the results of it. We was very, of course, confident and ambitious. As a hip-hopper, you believe you're the best. That's part of being hip-hop. It's like a boxer. You think you're the Mike Tyson of the game. But we had no money, no real equipment, and we just made music and made an album. And it went on to become our most iconic album. Now, after that, they paid us millions of dollars to make albums. And we took the money, you know what I mean? And we made albums. Then it got to a point that we wouldn't even come together in the studio unless they paid us. So now, that which was natural in us is now being controlled by the money. Cash rules everything around me. We start being controlled by it, and you'll notice that it also led to some degradation of what we created because of the interval of time, waiting, and all these different things. This album right here, nobody paid no money or gave me money to do it. It was just built off of inspiration, once again. So I would say, if you are a musician, I know that it's not easy to keep up with yourself, but let inspiration guide you more than economics.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, give it up for that. Give it up for that. So we're getting close to the end. I want to do a couple quick things. One more question for you, RZA. This is something that you would compose, had already been recorded, you came back, and you were able to reimagine it in Dolby Atmos. Thinking about what, so I'm gonna ask you what's next for you. Do you think about creating an Atmos, like just from the start, now not even thinking about mixing it later, but starting from scratch? What are your thoughts there?
No, I think that's the way to go. I think, like I said, you should have a setup that's like that you start from imagining where you could place your kick at, your snare, the vocal. I think that tool is now available, and I would advise anybody to use it. And yes, I'm gonna use it. We also are taking old tracks. For instance, there will be a release later this year of Protect Your Neck that will be redone in Dolby Atmos, and Raekwon might be right there, Method Man might be right there, ODB might be in the back of you. So now that technology is there, and also the STEM technology has gotten much better. So now that all these technologies is there, then we take our human equation and put it back to art, because technology is not going to give you the purest art. We can't deny that AI and technology is definitely making it easier for art, but I'm talking about the purity, unpredictable art. They got a long way to go for that. So we should take the technology that do exist, such as Dolby Atmos, and play with it with those artistic ideas. And yes, I'm gonna do that.
Love to hear that. Love to hear that. So what's next for you? What you mentioned some of the new kind of catalog releases kind of coming back later in the year. Are you composing anything new? What's next for you?
No, I'm just really excited about sharing this most and foremost. For all the Wu-Tang fans, we will be in Vegas. We have a residency in Vegas if you want to come down and gamble and then come over here and watch us and have a good time. The first hip-hop to be in Vegas in a residency, so that'll be fun. But other than that, I'm really, I don't like to, I don't try to sell stuff. I hope people know that about me. And I'm not trying to sell you this, but this piece of music I'm very proud of, and I would love for people just to hear it and to see the evolution, right? I know there's producers here who may start with a keyboard, an MPC, don't know how to play the guitar, don't know how to blow into a flute, don't know how to think, how to write that instrument. Then you got some producers who actually may have a keyboard workstation that got every instrument in it, but you never go over to that to the cello, or you may never go over to the timpani. Like, I would say, use all those tools and then go and let yourself evolve. This album is an example of my evolution, and I would love for people to roll with me on it.
We're with you, man. We are with you. We cannot wait. We absolutely cannot wait. Pietro, Brian, what's next for the LennonBus?
We're going to continue our commitment to historically black colleges and universities, something that we began doing this past fall. And ultimately, just going back to the inspiration, everything that we do, every point of contact that we have with students and visitors is really about peace. And we need it more than now. We need to remember it, and we need to inspire the next generation to imagine peace and make it happen. What do we want? We want peace. And when do we want it? We want it now.
I think that couldn't be a more perfect place to end right now. Guys, give it up for the RZA, Pietro Rossi, Brian Rothschild. I'm Greg Chin. We want to say thanks again to the Dolby Institute. Thank you to the LennonBus. Of course, thank you to our amazing panelists, Brian, RZA, Us, Pietro. Thank you. And to all of you, thank you all so much for being here. We'll see you next time. We'll see you out there. Thank you so much.